Oh no, but the big news in boxing, at least I thought it was kind of news. Frank Maloney, who was known for really being one of the most popular and most successful British boxing promoters in boxing, really, in the last 30 years. He promoted fighters like Lennox Lewis, carried him all the way to a title. Did some crazy stuff. Used to dress in, British flags and paint his vehicles, and was a promoter. Was basically running when Don King was. But apparently there was some things. He was just all mixed up. He was just all mixed up in his whole life, I guess. Last year, or apparently, when was it? October of last year, he walked away. He said he retired from boxing. He said that he had fallen out of love with the sport of boxing. Well, now we find out why. Frank Maloney, who's 61 years old, is now Kellie Maloney. He is now a she. He's been living as a woman. His name has been changed to Kellie. If you've missed some of the pictures that are out, this is not a scam. Kellie Maloney feels that he or she, it's so confusing. Frank Maloney felt that his whole life that he was a woman trapped in a man's body. And, he just finally decided to, what the hell? I think I'm going to get a razor blade and cut my, I guess that's not what he did. But the bottom line is he did an interview. It's all over. You can check it out at the Daily Mirror. They did an article. He's now donning high heels and wigs and lipstick, and he's got boobies, the whole nine. I guess he's undergoing his sex change operation at some point. They require, according to England, and I don't know if this is true here. I don't know anything about this stuff. But apparently transsexuals have to live as a woman for 2 years before they're allowed to have what they're calling as corrective surgery. I mean, man, I don't know what to say, man. Lou Reed was famous for a song. Basically, the way the line goes is, he shaved his legs and then he was a she. I guess that was the way it was in the 70s. Even though they did have sex change operations taking place during that era, but these that's all you had to do. Shave your legs and put on a pair of high heels. But now, it's pretty amazing. I don't know what to say. I wonder if he's gonna get back, or she. I might as well give him the respect. I wonder if she, Kellie Maloney, is going to get back into boxing. I think it takes a lot of, although he's not going to have him very much longer, I think it took a lot of balls for Frank Maloney to go public with this and, have the photo shoot and everything else. I don't know. He's got, he's been married twice. He's got 3 daughters. Apparently he's been in his transition state for over a year. So he had started it before he walked away from the sport. Lennox Lewis was quoted. He was one of the first people media reached out to. He said, I was just as shocked as anyone about the news on my former promoter. My initial thought was that it was just a joke. But the great thing about life and boxing is that day to day, you never know what to expect. This world we live in isn't always cut and dry or black and white. And coming from the boxing fraternity, I can only imagine what a difficult decision this must be for Kellie. He's referring to Frank as Kellie. He says, however, having taken some time to read Kellie's statements, I understand better what she and others in similar situations are going through. I think that all people should be allowed to live their lives in a way that brings them harmony and inner peace. I respect Kellie's decision and say if this is what brings about true happiness in her life, then so be it. I agree with Lennox, and I would say the same thing. If I had carefully thought out a professional statement, I would have said the same thing, and I probably wouldn't have made light of it. He basically, Kellie said living with this burden any longer would have killed me, and this is why he's chose to do this. I find it crazy. What's your thoughts? I mean, is this, I mean, he's 61. I don't know. I guess I just can't understand it. I have nothing against alternate. Obviously, I have nothing against alternative lifestyles at all. I believe that people. I believe what Lennox Lewis said. People have a right to live the way they want. I just. My hang up is, I don't know. I mean, what happens? I guess I can't relate because I'm not somebody trapped in somebody else's, situation, I guess. But I would think that, I mean, obviously people don't wake up one morning and go, you know what? I'm thinking of wearing high heels today. I'm a little sick of standing up to pee, and I'm thinking about becoming a woman. What do I got to do? Is it expensive? I just can't think people think like that. I think it's got to be a lifelong problem for them that they are suffering, basically. And a guy like Frank Maloney, who's now Kellie Maloney, he's doing what he wants to do. More power. Of course, the big news in boxing today, he shaved his legs and then he was a she. I'm talking about Frank Maloney, now known as Kellie Maloney. Crazy, crazy stuff, man. This world, she's a changing. That's all I could say. And so is Frank Maloney. He's a changing too. And I'll be talking about that in a little bit. And I don't mean to be, listen, to each his own is what I say. I don't have any problems with it. I find it, I find it crazy. I really do. I'm sorry. But I find it crazy that, I mean, you look at it like this, right? You say to yourself, you don't like your hair color, you dye it, right? You don't like long hair, so you shave it. You like, long hair, grow it out. You like a certain car, you like, for each his own. But, you're born as a guy and you want to be a girl, well, thanks to technology, you could do it. I don't know, man. I don't know. You could always tell that there was a little something inside of him, But anyway, I know it's going to be. No, that's terrible. You shouldn't even be thinking about that. But anyway, let's get some emails out the way before now, I think, is the man himself, nobody here. What's on your mind today, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? How you been today?
I'm not too bad. What's the matter? Why are you being nice to me? You're not.
I'm always nice.
You're not shaving your legs and going to turn into a she either, are you? I mean, what's up with that?
Definitely not. That won't be me.
Yeah, that
won't be me. Hey, you never know. Things could change.
I was going to come on today. I was going to come on. I see my man GQ, and I figured GQ was waiting for me to come out in public and admit that I'm a Mayweather fan trapped in a Billy C body. I don't know. I was thinking of coming out with that, but it's not the truth. So anyway, what's on your mind, brother?
Hey, man, everybody's hating on Danny Garcia. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I think it was. I mean, people were hating on the Heyman card, but personally, I think it was great. And they did 7,000 fans in Barclays Center, too, which is pretty awesome.
You thought what was great? I don't know why
people are so upset about it.
Wait a minute. You thought what was great? The card?
But the card was decent. Daniel Jacobs' fight was decent. Lamont Peterson fight was decent. And the Sokol fight was decent.
All right, listen, man. Listen, you of all people, you make no sense to me because a lot of times, and let's be real, okay? A lot of times your argument is, well, you got some crazy arguments, but generally your argument is similar to the arguments that I hear from the purest Mayweather fans. You like the sweet science, you like the technical aspect, et cetera, et cetera. And I can respect that. I can respect that because I don't respect it like as over the top as GQ gets, but I respect the obviously the sweet science of the sport.
Of course.
All right. But on the other hand, I also love entertaining scraps where, two guys will be giving it their all, et cetera, et cetera. What I don't like is mismatches. Now, we have to deal with mismatches on that club show level. And we're almost like, we accept it. And I use Lou DiBella as an example. Lou DiBella's got another card coming up this week at BB King's Blues Cafe. If you look at the card, I mean, it's designed to give all his fighters a win, et cetera, and they're mismatches and everything else. But it's on it's a club show. It's the broadcast is a tape delay, everything else. When you get to the premier networks, putting pay-per-view aside, there's two, really. It's HBO and Showtime. When a fight gets on those networks, I want to see challenging fights. Nobody here. I don't. Whether it's a skill match between two technically sound boxers or whether it's a brawl, I want to see a fight where you could say, I think so and so is going to win, and I say I think the other one's going to win, and we both have valid points. That was not the case in all three of those fights. And honestly, the Danny Jacobs, he's a great story, man. Great story. But let me tell you something. He had no business fighting for a world title, even though there's 100 of them in that same sanctioning body. He had no business fighting for a world title, especially against Gerard Fletcher. He did look good against Gerard Fletcher. Danny Garcia looked good against a guy that had, wasn't even ranked in anybody's ranking. Even you like all the rankings. This guy wasn't even the WBC said no to this guy. I mean, how bad does that have to be? It was sad, man. It was sad.
I think it's not sad. I think you might be too much. I mean, I understand the whole idea that you have, you're on a premium network, this, that, and the third, and all these other things. But I think that part of boxing, especially in Danny's case, especially in someone that wants to keep getting paid throughout the year, sometimes you have fights that aren't the greatest, and I think that's part of it. But the thing that was really cool about the fight card this weekend was that you had a chance to see Danny Garcia in a spectacular performance. You had a chance to see Lamont Peterson in a spectacular performance. You had a chance to see Daniel Jacobs as well. Plus, you had three wonderful storylines. You got a chance to see Daniel Jacobs, a cancer survivor, win a world title. That's kind of magical. You got Lamont Peterson, who was, set up or had a problem with steroids or whatever it was, even though it wasn't really the case. He just had testosterone replacement therapy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you got to see him technically show his skills. And then you had a guy in Rod Salka, who has done most of his business in boxing by himself. People always say it's golden boy, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. That's how you have to get on. But he did it primarily by himself. And through his skills and upsets of Collado, and also he lost a fight that he should have never lost, by doing that, that's how he got this fight with Danny Garcia. And yes, it wasn't the best of circumstances, but now people know him, people are talking about it, and he might be able to extend his career just with this fight. And I think for boxing needs stories like that. And yes, we want to have competitive fights, but we also want to have good stories. You need both.
I tell you what.
Sometimes you don't have them all at the same time.
I tell you what. You want a good story? Read The Gentleman Boxer, man. That's a good story. All right. You want to read a good story? Read The Lord of the Friggin' Rings. All right. I mean, you want a story? I'll tell you a story. But I want to watch boxing on Showtime and on HBO, man. I don't want to watch showcase fights, my man. I understand, and I know you're being diplomatic, and that's great. And you know what? If the majority of the boxing fans think like you, well, then that's why we're going to keep getting what we get. And the old timers like me, I don't know what to say. I don't know.